frame of mind, right here in my arms, away from all harm. You'll be safe from all the flares, although I know you don't care.
Greetings, travelers. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, I was thinking of doing something which probably many of you will like and will not like. I was thinking, before making this video, I was thinking of changing my YouTube account back to Kane Otsutsuki. Would that be alright? Just asking. Put in the comments a penguin emoji for yes. Put in the comments a dragon emoji for no. But anywho, let's get started. You're probably all wondering, what the heck is this new what if you're creating? Well, this is none other than what if Naruto was. What if Naruto was. Sorry, not was. What if Naruto ate the Uo no Mi model gorudoryu. Now, for those who don't know or don't care, and yes, I even checked this out on Google Translate, because I cannot translate gold to Japanese using my own brain. But I am 100% or at least 90% sure that Ryu means dragon. So, this is basically what if Naruto ate the fish fruit model gold dragon. Some things I need to explain though about this fruit Naruto has, or will eventually get. It gives him a whole lot of overpowered abilities. Well, not a whole lot, it's just very OP in my eyes. It allows him to turn into a red and gold dragon. And this draconic form is, even if by a small margin, larger than Kaido in their draconic form. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean by there. Isn't Kaido a guy? You're going to see in this video. And you'll see in a little bit. But anywho, sorry, I've been getting a real bad case of the hiccups all day. Except it's like an inverted hiccup when you don't hear anything, but you can't speak for like a couple of milliseconds. Anywho, let's begin. We begin, and I didn't even explain any of Naruto's abilities. Well, first off, this legendary fruit allows him to turn to a dragon that is, even by a small margin, larger than Kaido's dragon form. Second, in in dragon form, hybrid form, and even normal human form, Naruto is able to create, control, and turn things into gold of any kind. He can create things out of gold as well. Another special technique Naruto has is the ability to set his gold ablaze. Possibly small parts of the gold, or the entire amount of gold without it melting. So basically, he could create a golden spear and have the entire tip blazing in flame. So yeah, that's already OP. Or cool, in my opinion. Second, he is able to fly in his human form, hybrid form, and dragon form. He's also able to, well, like every dragon, I'm just like Kaido, blast out a large powerful, hot blast of fire breath. The only difference is, well, Kaido's is the standard orange, yellow, red color. Naruto's is gold. Now you're probably like, that isn't a big difference, but it is. Whatever this golden flame hits is both scorched and is basically burnt and scorched with a, say if it burns someone just a small bit who leave a burn, it scorches them with a golden burn or a gold scorch mark, which they cannot remove. However, if it engulfs over half of someone's body, it turns over half of their body into gold, which then slowly starts disintegrating off of the person's body till they only have half their body left. Yeah. This also works on inanimate objects and so on and so forth. See what I meant by Naruto's overpowered? Yeah. He's overpowered. And let me think. Did I forget anything? One other thing. His hybrid form does not make him like super large like Kaido, because we all know Kaido's a friggin' giant. By that, I'm talking about how wide Kaido is. And how muscular and beefy. Now, Naruto's hybrid form is as tall as Kaido. For some strange reason. Naruto's weapon is also a katana, which he can set ablaze at any dang time he wants. So yeah, he's strong, fast, and of course intelligent. But moving on, let us truly begin. We begin at the Hidden Leaf Village, the home of two great children, and the home of two children. One of them is Nanami Uzumaki Namikaze, and the other is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Nanami was at birth, she had a terrifying beast sealed within her. The Nine Tails, one of the most terrifying creatures on Earth, and one of the strongest, but not the strongest. Now Naruto His parents believed his sister to be greater than him, just because she had the nine tails. They believed that if they let her out of their sight for a single picosecond, the entire world would be in shambles. And so, hold on. Hold on. Oh dear heavens. Is that the thing? How the flip did it even get there? Alright, hold on. I am having problems with the video. Alright, I am pausing now out of my own confusion. Sorry about that, problem is fixed. Anywho, now, because of this love towards Nanami, Naruto was left behind. His parents even went as far as blaming him by saying that he was the vessel of the Nine Tails and viewed as a freak. Now, Naruto was clueless about this. He had no idea. Although, when he was younger, although when he was about at the age of 5, they hosted a very special large event. And they called it Beast. And they called it the Great Fox Massacre. Now what this was the village would have their strongest warrior fight against Naruto. And I say fight as a term of endearment. In all actuality, Naruto would get his ass beaten and bruised and bloody. The strongest warrior that the village chose was Nanami, who, as her parents had lied, she had a special release which made her have the power and which made her have a very good version of the Nine Tails' power. Yeah, right. However, the villagers, being as dumb as hell, fell for it. And so, when this event happened, Nanami beat the crap out of Naruto. Even removing his right arm. Now, after this event, Naruto was bloody, beaten, and of course, armless, and he had one arm gone. However, he decided something. He would leave the Hidden Leaf village. Or at least try to. So, while at that night, young 5-year-old Naruto grabbed everything he could with one arm and left. He left the village by using, a release which Namikaze's had, swift release, and he was able to basically escape the village with almost no one seeing him. I say almost because Teiuchi saw Naruto running with his arm bleeding, and with where his arm would be leaking blood. However, Teiuchi, he didn't call the guards or tell anyone that the beast had been loose because he understood Naruto, and he felt very sad for him. However, he could not do anything, as if he were to help, Konoha would have him enlisted as an enemy of the Fire Nation, as an enemy of the Land of Fire. He would never be able to get any customers, and he wouldn't be able to do his job, which was to protect and care for his daughter. So, being nice, as a sign of doing all he could, Teiuchi simply ignored the young child. Of course, he did this after bringing Naruto into his home and feeding him ramen, and then bandaging where his arm was missing. Naruto then afterwards used his swift release to escape the Hidden Leaf village. And he ran so far to the point where he reached a new place or area of sorts. Well, it was new to him and almost everyone else. But it was very old. Oh, very old. He had entered a strange place. It seemed as if it was not in any of the 5 elemental nations. However, Naruto simply kept going further into this strange land, which he found was like a strange island type area. It was filled with many islands surrounded by an extremely large encircled ocean. What do I mean by this and what I mean by encircled? Well, basically it was within the middle of it was basically at the edge of the elemental nations, but it was circled with an extremely large amount of land. And in that extremely large amount of land was this ocean-like area, filled with many islands. Naruto used his swift release to the max and started running on water. Yes, you heard me, running on water. Also, using chakra control with his swift release. Yes, Naruto is a prodigy at chakra control. He ran all the way across this ocean-like area till he reached a strange place. Well, not exactly strange, just mysterious. He had reached a large island, which in the middle of it was an extremely large tree. This tree had many branches. However, it seemed as if the ends of all these branches had been cut or burned. Only one branch was not burned, and from the end of this branch was a single fruit, and was just... Hold on. I am on a pop run. My mother sent me to go to a vending machine within our building to see if the pop machine is working. But anywho, back to the story. Naruto saw it at the edge of this last unburnt branch laid simply a note. Or an envelope, just a old charred one. Yup, still doesn't work. Anywho, at the edge of this charred envelope, Naruto opened. This envelope contained a strange message. as it read, "Many have searched for it, but none have found. Lost their lives, chains unbound. She roars and destroys, conquering most. However, it is their only hope." Alright, I am back to my building, pausing. Naruto had no idea what any of that meant. What he did know, though, was at the end, and was at the back of the envelope, was a map leading Naruto to the very bottom of the extremely large tree, where its roots swerved together to create a ginormous temple-looking area. Naruto entered this ginormous tree, and once he got to the center of the trunk itself, Naruto sought a old chest that was gold and red. And it was very dusty. Around the room was covered nothing but bones, and was bones and dried blood, swords and old armor as well. Naruto had thought that something had happened. Someone fought there, but Naruto didn't know the half of it. This very item, which Naruto found the map to open, to lead to, it had brought him to the very center of the tree itself, or, as it was called, the devil tree, or the god tree. No, not god tree, sorry. The devil tree, or demon tree, or Akuma tree, or Majin tree, whatever you'd like to call it. The Akuma tree, or devil tree, was very mysterious. It was extremely large, larger than that of the god tree, another mythical tree within Naruto's world, which he had read up on. Well, no. He had no idea of the existence of this god tree. Naruto, however, walked forth and opened the chest within this ginormous tree-like temple. He opened the chest only to see a strange fruit. It was gold, with red a red stem, and red swirls covering it. Naruto had no idea what it meant, but he was starving and would eat anything, no matter how it looked or tasted. And so, what did the young boy do but devour it? He devoured it within 1 whole minute. Within a minute, the fruit was gone, and Naruto sat there, feeling as if he had had the worst stomachache of his life. Then, strange enough, something miraculous happened. As a golden flame started covering Naruto's arm, or spot where his arm would have been. the flame extended outward and eventually started to solidify itself, creating an arm, even fingers. However, the arm was not covered in human skin, but golden scales. His hand was clawed as well. However, Naruto could retract the claws into normal fingernails, which he did. He was confused and decided to learn more of this strange place. And so, he had built himself a small temple nearby using his newfound abilities, or super strength, super speed, hyper intelligence, and, well, fire breath. Breath which at this time was not the legendary golden flames which he will soon possess. It was a normal red flame, but it was still incredibly hot. Hotter than the strongest Uchiha's flame itself. And so this terrifyingly hot flame burned down many trees, and many nearby smaller trees and palm trees, which Naruto used to make himself a home. He then started to train his body more and more and more. Eventually, Naruto began to grow a change in personality. He became colder to anything that was human, and that was even close to being human. He started being harsher on himself for being born human. But he eventually started idolizing gold and flame, viewing fire as a warm source of life which extinguished the very water within his body, and which was supposed to extinguish the very water in his body. Naruto also viewed gold as a substance which could be stronger than his weak bones. And eventually, Naruto began to do a strange habit of eating in fire and drinking liquid gold. Now you're probably wondering, how the hell is he not dead? Eating fire? That would have burnt his entire body to crisps. But Naruto had been shown with a immunity to the regular flame. The gold also had no effect on his body either. And so Naruto began to push himself even farther, wanting to reach the physical peak of his physical power. And so that is what he did. He created ginormous wooden robots which worked on wood and pulley systems, as well as animals working inside of hamster wheels as the hearts or mechanisms which allowed these devices to work. Naruto used these ginormous wooden and training dummies to test out his physique and strength. He eventually moved on from wood to stone, and from stone to metal. Eventually, Naruto had grown so strong to the point where he was able to punch the giant metal machinations of training dummies out of sight and out of his line of sight, which Naruto's eyes were increasingly and were far greater than any human's. His all of his five senses had been strengthened beyond comparison. And eventually, Naruto learned how to fly. Or float for a small amount of time. And we pass even longer. Amount of 10 years. Naruto is now 15. He's strengthened his body beyond comparison. Well, not 15, sorry. We go... Let's see. Let's try 7 years, yeah. 7 years in the future. Naruto is now 12. He's been training with these giant metal, wooden, and stone machinations created by his own genius as training dummies. But not only that, Naruto was able to somewhat uncover some of the history of this place. He dubbed it he dubbed it the land of Majin, or the land of devils. Naruto didn't know exactly why he felt the urge to name it this way, but he did. And so, Naruto lived in this sixth elemental land, training his butt off till he was 10. By the time of 10, Naruto was able to possess godlike feats which no other human was able to. His physical punches, his weakest punch was able to split people apart. Basically splitting their atoms apart. Well, no, their molecules apart, not their atoms. Naruto was extremely powerful. He was powerful, fast, intelligent, and of course he had a lot of, stamina. One day, however, Naruto had decided to leave his home and explore the elemental nations. And so he did. Naruto had heard of a village called the village hidden in the sand. Naruto decided to walk over here and discovered that it was ruled with an iron, or should I say, iron sand fist. Get it? Because I'm pretty sure, like, the fourth Kazekage, or one of the Kazekages was able to use iron sand. Get it? Anywho. Naruto was at his physical peak. But he still trained his body even more and decided to go easy on these new opponents. One of which, the first person who accepted his request for battle was was a guy named Kankuro. Kankuro was able to use strange puppet techniques, which were actually kind of decent for a human that was, as Naruto would say. He destroyed the puppets with ease just by punching them. People thought he was related to Tsunade Senju with that type of physical strength. But Naruto said his name was just Naruto. He was not a Senju or anything else. He was just a traveler. Kankuro, however, wanted to know more about this strange combatant, so he kept pushing on with all of his physical capabilities as well, still not being able to land a hit on Naruto. Naruto easily swatted him away like a fly, and then walked over to and then walked back to the center of the sand village and asked for another strong opponent. And then another strong fighter, Tamari Sabaku, walked out of the crowds and wanted to fight Naruto, and so she did. However, just like her brother Kankuro, she too lost. Naruto had been bored. The humans which he fought were beginning to bore him. They were even weaker than his creations, and than his training dummies. However, before Naruto was about to leave, a third person said, "I wish to challenge you." Naruto turned around, only to see a strange kid with light blue eyes, a red mark on on the side of his forehead, and red hair walk up to him. The boy said, my mother wants your blood, and so I shall defeat you and kill you." Naruto smirked and began to chuckle as he then said, "Child, the others of this village, were nothing compared to me. So, honestly, what makes you think you are? You could do anything to me." Naruto questioned. The boy then said, "I'll show you what I'm capable of," as he then dashed towards Naruto. Naruto, however, simply caught the boy's kick with his fist and with his palm and said, "Weak again." The boy then began manipulating sand to try and attack Naruto. Naruto just easily cut the sand apart with his own hand and with his own palms, as he then said, "Are you serious? Is this all that the legendary Gaara Sabaku can do? Of course I know who you are, Gaara. Before I left my home in search of strong opponents, I researched over the strongest shinobi out there. You are the Jinchuriki of the One-Tails Shukaku. A beast. I'm one of the weakest of beasts. Well, not exactly weak. Strong. However, he is still... He does not have enough energy to be able to defeat any of the other beasts. Isn't that right?" As Gaara would say, "Shut up. Don't talk about that beast." As then Naruto would say, "What? Is the child too weak to play with the adult?" As then Gaara would rush at him creating ginormous claws out of sand and ginormous clawed arms out of sand. Naruto, however, would easily punch the sand and blast it away. He would say, "You're beginning to bore me, child." Ugh. As Naruto would then seemingly teleport behind Gaara, as he would then karate chop him in the neck. As Naruto would then say, "Weak." As then a couple of guards would then say, "Hey, stop right there. You've harmed Sabaku. You've harmed Gaara Sabaku, child of the fourth Kazekage. Face your punishment," the boy said, and the guard said as they then threw multiple spears trying to hurt Naruto. Naruto, who appeared to be the size of two adults, however, was unfazed, as he then, well, not two adults, he's the size of 5 adults, and then said, "Is this all you have? Spears?" And as the spears made contact with Naruto's skin, not piercing him, but instead the spears broke. People tried using all sorts of jutsus on him, but none of them worked. As Naruto then said, "Is this seriously all one of the 5 great villages has against me? Weak. I'll show you real power." As Naruto would then open his mouth and release an extremely large blast of golden flame. Well, not golden flame, normal flame. Large, about 10 times larger than anything Madara Uchiha himself could create. As Naruto then said, "And that's just a small taste of what I can do." As the Sand village was in shambles. As Naruto then walked out of the village, or the rubble of the village, creating earthquakes as he left. As we go somewhere else, a temple built within a cave, shaped like a skull with horns. In this cave and within inside of that temple laid a woman who sat on what appeared to be a stone throne. As the woman had received a strange message or piece of news. She saw the parchment which she was given and was ecstatic. A giant being, just a couple of inches taller than her, yes, her, was seen a couple of weeks ago, decimating the hidden sand village with ease. The person then was covered in a hood or robe and then left. No one knows who or what this creature was, but it is clear that it is not human. Or at least that's what they thought. As the woman then chuckled and said, "So," and then said, "A strong human, huh? Perhaps a decent fight." As before, she was able to put down a age of news and was able to put down the news. Something caught her eye of the illustration made of Naruto. A strange dragon and a strange amount of dragon-looking scales on his right arm. As she then said, "It can't be. The only possible way is for there to be another user of my fruit is for me to die. Then the fruit reincarnates. That's how it always goes." As she then realized, but what if there was another fruit? As she then began smiling, a creepy, joyous smile. As we see the woman now on this stone throne, as she then says, "Boys, I know," and as she then says, "Listen up," as she then talks to all the denizens of this giant cave. As she then says, Another dragon has been sighted. It appears as that it is a male. Strong. I wish to fight this dragon user. Hopefully, he isn't weak. After all, no fight is good with a weak. No fight is worth anything if you have a weak opponent. As she would then begin transforming. As her arm would begin, and as what appeared to be a tattoo on her arm grew from red scales to azure blue ones. As her body began to grow to extremely large lengths, as her horns began to grow as well. Until she looked exactly like this. A giant blue and black dragon. As she then said, "Ed, I'll be back. I will be back after defeat and after meeting this new dragon user." As she would then leap from the ground and would begin flying off. As we go to Naruto, who had just walked from the sand village all the way to the middle of, and to in between the sand village and the mist village. Now Naruto was saving the leaf for last of the villages which he would attack. After all, he wanted to prove how strong he was to his former family. And so, Naruto, however, decided to take a nap in the middle of the two villages, and in the path between the two villages. Naruto fell asleep within this giant sort of desert/foresty area. Well, not desert, just this giant wooded area. When Naruto awake, however, he heard 4 voices he heard a girl say, "Kakashi-sensei, where are we going?" As then he heard a guy say, "Nanami, we are going with this bridge maker to the hidden, to the land of waves. That way he can make a bridge, and we will leave him alone after that." As then a third voice said, So this is a D rank mission. So this is a C rank mission. Boring. No. And so this is a D rank mission. Ugh, boring. An Uchiha of my status does not deserve to be put on such a weak mission. As then a fourth voice would say, "Yeah, that's right, Sasuke-kun." As Naruto, feeling like he was rudely interrupted from his nice sleep, and from his nice slumber, would get up on his own 2 feet and would begin walking towards the voices. As we go to Kakashi's POV, Kakashi Hatake had a we go to Kakashi's POV. Kakashi Hatake had the worst week of, and had the worst day of his life. First, he was woken up early. He couldn't read his Icha Paradise. And he had to take 3 brats and an old drunk man to the land of waves so they could build a bridge. Now this upset the man a lot. And this upset Kakashi a lot. As Kakashi then groaned at his 3 students, but then he heard something strange, an earth-shaking noise. Actually, the earth itself felt like it was shaking. Trees began falling over. As then the 5 all looked up in terror of what appeared to be a giant man in a red and black kimono. The man had long yellow hair, 3 and 6 long whiskers, and whisker-like things, and 2 horns on his body, on the top of his head. However, they were on the top of his forehead and were curving upwards, like a standard demon or Oni's horns, just larger. As Naruto, well, not larger. As the 4 were, and as the 5 looked in terror, thinking that whatever this creature was going to eat them. As Naruto would then say, "Which one of you 5 woke me up from my nap?" Kakashi, thinking that this was some sort of rogue beast, was stunned that it could actually talk. As Naruto would then say, "Well, which of you 5 woke me up from my nap?" As Kakashi then said, "Sorry, it was me and my students. The drunk man behind us, however, has done nothing. We are simply travelers on our way to the land of waves, As Naruto would then say, "It's alright. I'm also traveling. I'm going to the land, I'm going to the Hidden Mist Village, or what was once called the Bloody Mist." As they'd then say, "Why do you want to go there?" As Naruto would then say, "Why else? I hear there's a civil war going on, and I want to pummel in some faces. Plus, I want to find warriors to be able to and who will at least be able to challenge me. I only want to fight the strongest of the strong, so if you aren't strong, then beat it," Naruto said. As Sasuke's pride began to climb over his fear, as he then said, "Ha! I bet I can defeat you with one attack." As Naruto then said, "Are you serious, child? And are you serious, human? With one punch, I could send all of your molecules flying miles away from each other. Your entire physical body would be erased. Just with one punch," Naruto said. As Sasuke then said, "I still want to fight you. I need to fight the strongest. I need to train as hard as possible so I can defeat my brother Itachi for murdering my clan." As Naruto would then say, "If you can... Alright, child. If you can figure out this puzzle, I will train you." As Naruto then grabbed a piece of paper out of his pocket. As he then said, "The test is simple. You see these 6 squares, and you see these 3 squares at the bottom? Well, you have to draw a line from each of these 3 squares and each of these 3 squares has to draw a line to each of these others, and to one of these other squares. Now, I'm not saying just draw a line from the 3 to the one of them. It's a bit complicated than that. There has to be 3 lines from each, and there has to be 3 lines, one from each of these squares at the bottom, linking up to one at the top. And then you have to do the same with the other 2. However, here's the twisty part. They cannot overlap in any way, shape, or form," Naruto said, as he then handed Sasuke the paper and said, "When you're done with it, come see me. And when you're done with it, you'll know where to find me." As Sasuke then said, "But I don't." As Naruto then said, "Exactly." As he then started walking away. That was until a yellow-haired girl zoomed in front of his path and said, "Hey, you big ogre, I bet I can beat you in a fight. After all, I need to defeat my rival Sasuke. So if I can beat you, I'll be able to defeat him." As Naruto then said, "Nah, go away, kid." But before he could finish saying kid, he took a long stare at Nanami and said, You Your Nanami Uzumake Namikaze, daughter of the fourth Hokage, and Lady and Kushina Uzumake, right? And she then said, yeah, what of it? As Naruto's grin became even wider as he then said, I now know exactly who you are and what you four are. You're ninja. From the Hidden Leaf Village, I presume. Let me guess, you're on a D-rank mission and you weren't expecting me to pop out of nowhere. Well then, Nanami, how is it staring into the ghost of the past? I'm staring at the ghost of your past, huh? As Nami looked at Naruto and said, what do you mean? I don't even know who you are. I've never met you before. As Naruto then said, ouch, as he then pulled off his hood and said, what girl doesn't even, what sibling doesn't even remember her own brother? Naruto said, as he then kicked her into a tree, which sent her flying into 100 others. As Naruto then said, now, I have no beef with you three, but she's the reason why I hate the leaf. If you know better, you won't piss me off, Naruto said, as he then, and as in the lower half of his body, suddenly became covered with golden scales, as his toes became larger and clawed, as he then jumped out of the sky and out off the ground into the sky, as he then began flying away, or jumping from tree to tree by floating. In his human form, he can only jump high. In his hybrid form, he can only float a bit, but in his dragon form, he can definitely fly. As Naruto would then say, one day I'll destroy you, Nanami, Naruto said with a wicked smile on his face. As while he was jumping from tree to tree, a large fireball came from the side and knocked Naruto into and off of the trees. However, by then he was already 50 miles away from Team 7. As he then said, who dares? Who dares interrupt? And who dares interrupt Naruto? As then as then a giant dragon would appear out of nowhere. However, it would then float down into the forest, and then out of the woods, a girl would appear. As she would then say, I dare. As Naruto then smiled and said, let's see what you've got, girl. And let's see what you've got. As the two would then, and as Naruto would, not Naruto, the girl and the mysterious woman would then rush at Naruto, holding a giant spiked club. And that is where I'm ending this part. Hope you all have enjoyed part 1 of what if Naruto ate the Uo Uo no Mi model golden dragon and gold dragon. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. If I have notifications, please hit those notifications. Comment what you thought of this video and if you want a part 2. Also, comment if I should and who Naruto's ship should be, and if Naruto should have a harem or a single ship, and if I should give anyone else devil fruits. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Goodbye. Hit those notifications. You know the rules, and skadoosh.